his 10. Here comes Jimmer. Long range. Are you kidding me? He's got
March 2011. Jimmer Fredette had just put on one of the most incredible scoring runs in college basketball history. Putting up 40 pieces like nothing, Jimmermania was a phenomenon unlike anything I've ever seen. It seemed like overnight, he went from another college basketball player to a mainstream celebrity. You could say that Jimmer was the Steph Curry before the emergence of Steph Curry. Bleacher Report even went as far as to compare him to Kobe Bryant, and Barack Obama was giving him praise as the far and away best scorer in the country. The campus legend went on to the NBA draft after crushing basically every scoring record in BYU's books, where he was taken 10th overall. He's on the Shanghai Sharks. Jimmer's time in the NBA was embarrassing. The league tried to give him as many chances as they could. They know the fans want to see Jimmer, but even in a league perfectly fit for his style of play, he couldn't survive. How did this happen? Well, let me show you. Welcome to NBA Files. Jimmer's story starts back in Glen Falls, New York. He was the youngest of 3 brothers, but stood out way more athletically than the other 2. His older brother TJ referred to him as the most competitive 4-year-old that you're ever gonna find. This dude was obsessed with basketball, but not only that, winning in basketball. By the time he was 5, he was smacking threes and learned moves to get by opponents. His family amped up this kid, saying he was league-bound from the time he was 10 years old. He would always find a way to win the game, even against players much older than him. By the time Jimmer got to high school, he was one of the best scoring guards in the country. He finished with over 2,400 career points. I mean, that's like 10 times what I had. In 4 years, that's ludicrous. Despite the clear talent here, there was big doubts on how well his game would translate to the college level, and frankly, I can see why. An undersized 2 guard with an underdeveloped playmaking ability and piss-poor defense is scary, even when his ceiling as a scorer is seemingly limitless. At the end of his schooling, Jimmer had 12 offers from Division I schools, most of them being smaller, and wasn't even a top 70 shooting guard in the nation. As we know, he took his talents to Brigham Young University, and this is when history would really start to be written. Jimmer came into college ready to go. He had trained hard all of high school, and had just came out of a prison league in the offseason. He was tough and had something to prove. Throughout his freshman and sophomore seasons, there was a lot of developing and polishing that needed to be done. Jimmer was clearly ready to work. He saw a rapid jump in production by the end of his sophomore year, totaling over 16 a game. Jimmer was clearly a top shooter in the NCAA, smacking 38% of them. But he didn't start to get national attention until an outing in his junior year. Jimmer totaled a whopping 49 points in a game against Arizona, which quickly caught the attention of all sports media outlets. On top of a 45-point outing a couple months later, Jimmer had built a strong enough case for himself as a scorer to go straight to the league after his junior year. But he decided to finish out his senior year at BYU, and this is where things really start to get wild. In a late January game against a crowd of 22,000 people, Jimmer matched up against undefeated San Diego State, led by none other than Kawhi Leonard. In a game BYU had no business competing in, they dominated, winning 71-58, with Jimmer having 43 of that. This was his 3rd game with over 40 in what you could call the start of Jimmermania. The attention was pouring in faster than you can imagine. Everyone was watching in awe at this kid hitting 40-foot bombs, pulling up in transition, and hitting buzzer beaters seemingly every single week. I mean, at this time, this wasn't like the Trae Young situation where people speculated if we could be seeing the next Steph Curry. Jimmer Fredette was doing this before Steph Curry. When March came around, it just kept getting crazier. Jimmer rode into the tourney in style, smacking Danny Ainge's school scoring record with a 52-point performance. Jimmer pushed BYU to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 1981. And had you watched these games, these weren't any ordinary games. I mean, these games were more buzzing than the NBA Finals. Jimmer was more of a celebrity than a student, possibly the best scorer in the world. Kevin Durant tweeted at Fredette calling him, well, the best scorer in the world. President Obama called him unbelievable. Best scorer in the country, obviously. You'd see thousands of fans lined up outside the door. I mean, with the size of these crowds, you'd think it's LeBron James or Michael Jordan coming out. Not a 6'2" shooting guard who looks like he should be playing soccer or something, not prepping for the NBA draft. The Bucks grabbed Jimmer with the 10th overall pick before trading him to the Kings. The hype around his name clearly made him go a little bit higher than he otherwise would, and definitely higher than he should. But the perks of grabbing the most clouded player are definitely a plus for an organization in certain areas. The Kings instantly saw a 540% increase in jersey sales as a result of his jerseys flying off the shelves faster than you could stock them. For those of you who know Jimmer's story, you know this is when the fun, fancy life would come to an end. The ball he had rolling came to a halt and rolled back, struggled to get to his spots like he once could. I think Jimmer's struggles really bring to light how freaking hard it is to play NBA basketball. Over the next couple years, Jimmer would see more and more minutes taken away. After posting 7 a game in 2013 and 5 in 2014, he was bought out of his contract partway through the year by Sacramento. After an 8-game stint in Chicago, he was given a chance with the Pelicans, and this was just sad. I mean, he averaged more turnovers than assists, scored 3 points a game, and was one of the very worst defenders in the entire NBA. I loved Jimmer back at BYU. I was one of the fans going crazy for this guy. And this was really sad to see his career unfold like this. After New Orleans, he could only find a contract with the New York Knicks D-League team in hopes to land another spot. Jimmer played really good in the D-League, which I guess is exciting, but after getting exposed like that in the NBA, you're not getting a contract. I'm sorry to say it. He realized his fate was not to be an NBA player anymore and packed his bags after a year for Shanghai. I know we all love the Shanghai Sharks memes, but this really was a great move for the guy who was not meant for the National Basketball Association. He made a killing over there, by normal people's standards, and he was able to do what he loves for a living. His Shanghai career may be the most impressive part of his whole career. Once he jumped ship, this dude actually started balling out of his mind. Jimmer basically turned into the Kobe Bryant of Shanghai. The next 3 years, averaging almost 40 a game, he even totaled 75 points in a game for them at the end of the 2019 season. After the CBA explosion, the Phoenix Suns actually gave him another chance. He played 6 games, shit the bed, and went back to China, but it was kind of cool to see Jimmer back in the NBA a couple years ago. That's basically Fredette's story. I know it died pretty quickly in the NBA, but there's not much to say here. Dude wasn't as good as scouts and basically everyone thought, and that's okay. The NBA is the top 0.001% of players, and he found a spot as a top player in a league full of the top 1% of players. Someone has to be the best JV guy, and that's Jimmer's role. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.